What is up, gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode on the channel. On today's episode, we will be looking at how to quickly master the art of basic conversation. So why basic conversation? Why is it important to master this art? Well, especially for us as men, it's important for three key reasons. Number one is in our personal relationships. The way that we go out and we influence the world has come down to the way that we have conversations and the way that we communicate ourselves. Two is ultimately so that you can build strong networks and alliances with allies and people that you know are going to be able to benefit you as you are going to be able to benefit them on your mission and on their mission. Lastly is to be able to set the right impression of who you wish to be. If you're unable to push onto the world the impression of yourself that you wish to push on, well, there you are helpless. So let's look at three key traits that are essential for any great level of communication. This is going to be the power of authenticity, confidence, and lastly, and most importantly, is going to be empathy. Let's start off with the basic mechanics of any conversation, especially with someone you don't know. The first step is going to be the introduction. When you introduce yourself, do so confidently. Introduce yourself in full. Briefly, but in full. Say, for example, hi, my name is Shadi. This is what I do. What's your name? Put your hand out, a nice firm handshake, maintain good eye contact, smile, and then if you need to sit, sit. From there, when you're getting to know the person, it's important to be able to ask the right questions. But it's less about what specific types of questions you ask, more about how you ask these questions. So from a question format, keep your questions open-ended but engaging. Don't ask questions that may result in a sharp and abrupt response. You need to be able to flow your conversations. Think like a grandmaster in chess. Think 2, 3, 5 moves ahead. By doing this, you're able to actually move the conversation into the direction that you want. He who cannot think ahead is unable to achieve the result he wants. So when you're asking these open-ended questions, it's going to give you the opportunity to flow with the person that you're with. From there, always show interest. When you're listening to someone, it's so important to not just be listening for the sake of listening. Actively be engaged in what is being said. Use good body posture. We've done a separate video in the past that covers all forms of body language, especially in these scenarios, but you can have different versions of your body language to indicate certain things. When you show an interest, I think just a slight relaxed approach of body language, an open and inviting body language, maintaining eye contact and nodding subtly, adding small cues to show that you're following along, maybe some, okay, sure, and then actively at the end, summarizing what has been said. So many people, and I hate this, will listen to you and they will not be listening to you. And then at the end, they'll just say, okay, and I've done this so many times that I cut so many people out of it. I'll say, what was the last thing I just said? And they will look at you with this bewildered look in their face where they genuinely have not heard anything you've said. And I know for a fact that when I listen to someone, I listen with all of my heart. Because at the end of the day, the idea of listening is not just to say that you're listening. It's to actively learn something about someone that you could not have learned on your own. This is why you engage the world. So listen, be active, summarize what is being said, show that you actually give a fucking damn about what is in front of you, and watch that empathy flow back into you. So this is one of the key reasons for empathy in a conversation, because so few people actively have the ability to care about what is being said. So few people actually are able to get out of their heads and to say, what is in front of me is worth listening to, and I'm going to give this person the time, the attention that they deserve. And this is something that is miraculous to most people. They've never experienced it before, and if they have, it's fleeting and it's very uncommon. And if you can become that person that actually listens, well, you gain a very special place in many people's hearts. I also want to emphasize and stress the importance of speaking correctly, carefully, and concisely. So when it comes to your speech, slow down your speech. Have a deliberate feeling for your speech where every word that you're saying has a place in the sentence. Do not use filler words. Do not go around in circles. Keep your speech concise and direct and to the point. By doing this, you're able to communicate the message that you wish to effectively, and you're able to keep the energy where it needs to be. One thing that I like to do at the end is to briefly repeat the key points of the point I just made. I may go and introduce the point in the beginning, then I may give a body speech. It might start off by, this is what we're trying to do, and then give some emphasis to it. And then as I round out that paragraph, I will repeat in a very short and concise way the main point of what I just said. That way, the person I'm speaking to can take away what I've said with peace of mind, knowing that I've communicated myself effectively, clearly, and concisely. Well, guys, that is a wrap on this episode. And I want to leave you with some key practical tips. Whenever you meet someone, especially someone new, consider speaking to them. Consider actually striking up a conversation. You'll be surprised how few people actually will go ahead and make the effort to go and strike up a conversation. Be one of those people and do so in a way that makes you an engaging conversationalist, someone that people would love to get to know. I do this pretty much every day. Random people that I've never met before at the coffee shop, on the street. If I see something interesting, I'll just go and make a comment. And what that does is, number one, it gives me the confidence in myself. I'm no longer afraid of speaking to people. And honestly, I may have been afraid at some point, because you almost get this feeling of, what if I'm bothering these people? Well, you're not bothering anyone. You are someone that is worth speaking to and worth listening to. So by doing this consistently, you repeat in your mind, then you remove this fear. And it's very easy. There's a specific formula that I will always go into when speaking to anyone. And this allows me to speak to anyone from any socioeconomic class, any gender, any age. First, it's about knowing who they are. What's your name? This is what, do you live here? Do you not live here? Ask them about what they do, their family. There's certain key topics that are very easy to get into. Name, age, family, country, places to visit, hobbies, job. All of these are very simple and straightforward ways to get the conversation started. And as you flow the conversation, you're able to move it into specific ways. I also like to keep the conversations lighthearted. I like to keep it simple, playful, and concise as well. I also don't like to go into circles or loops. And obviously, when the conversation is done, it's very easy to be very polite and to say, oh, it was lovely meeting you. My name is Shadi again. Perhaps reintroduce yourself at the end, especially if this is someone you met for the first time, and you can just walk away. You made a new friend, or you made a new acquaintance, or even you just tested out and repeated your skills for the day. So guys, definitely try to do this and try to hone in your skills over time. It's just something that is like a band-aid. You have to rip off that fear of just speaking to random people and watch your conversational skills get better and better over time. It's just come to a point where I can make a conversation with anyone, anytime, anywhere, no matter how awkward that person might be. It's just so easy for me to flow into it. And as you open up and you make them feel much more open, and that brings down their walls and their barriers, and it makes it much easier for them to connect with you. So guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help me out, helps us out on this channel, keeps me and the team motivated to keep creating this content for you. From the very bottom of my heart, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Shadi TV. Until next time, we'll speak.